This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and I'm beyond proud to present a very special episode to you today. Sometimes the planets align and everything just falls into place, and you get an opportunity to interview an incredibly powerful blues musician when they've got some really big things happening. And such is the case with today's guests. One of the strongest modern proponents of Baton Rouge Swamp Blues, this second-generation blues man is now creating music with his son, thus bringing in a third generation to the fold of quality blues musician. In fact, their latest song is quickly grabbing attention around the globe, even garnering plays down under with Sean Bindley's podcast, Blues with a Feeling. Devils in the Delta is at this time a standalone single featuring the work of our guest and his son, but it's destined to be part of a bigger album project, and from what I've heard, hopefully coming out yet later on this year. Now, I've got to tell you, that album can't come soon enough. I just being honest here. We have a Grammy nominee, a multiple BMA recipient, a Just Blues Music Awards recipient, and one hell of a bluesman, Verdict music artist Kenny Neal, and son Micah Willis. Welcome to Time Signatures, guys. What an honor. Welcome.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks for having us, Dave.
Well, indeed, my pleasure as well. Now, we're going to talk about this incredibly powerful single you guys have put out, but I need to gather some background information from the two of you first, because that's what we do here. So, Kenny, let me start with you, sir. Talk about your earliest memories of music.
Well, I don't remember my early days of music. My dad was always had equipment around the house. So, man, from the time I got here to crawling around, I was crawling around amplifiers and drums and speakers. And so it just was something always around me, equipment and music. So I grew up in it. Now, I remember when I turned 6, 7 years old, 8, my dad would take me to matinees because I would go up and perform and sing with him at a Saturday matinee. And when we finished playing, sometime I would make more money than my dad, Rayful. His name was Rayful Neal. I go around all the tables, man. By the time I finish, I have 2 pockets full of money. I go, this is what I want to do. But I can remember back as my single digit performing with my dad. And throughout the years, he always would take me out. And when I turned about 14 years old, we had a bass player that would always show up late in my dad band. So I told my dad, I said, you know what, Pops? I said, I could play that set. I could play the bass. He said, you know the songs? I said, yeah, I've been practicing them at home. And so I got on the bass guitar, and the guy was history after that. I got the job. And I still see he's still around today too. And I still see him, and I go, thank you for being late. That's the way we speak to each other.
Yeah. All right,
I grew up.
Good. Go ahead.
Grew up around people like Lazy Lester, Slim Harpo. You know, these people was all the way around. And in 1956 and 57, Buddy Guy was my dad's guitar player in the band.
Wow.
And when Buddy left to go to Chicago, then my dad hired Field Guy, Buddy Guy brother. And that's how I ended up playing with Buddy Guy later in the years in 76.
Man,
Yeah.
That's cool. Micah, how about you, man? Where did you get your start? I mean, what's your earliest memories of music growing up?
Just like my dad, I feel like I don't have I can't even remember the early years with the music because it was just always there. You know, I grew up around harmonicas and guitars and just all sorts of music. I remember making like cassette tapes on this little boombox that I had. I'd record it with the stereo, like playing, and then I would like sing into it. And just cover any types of music that I heard. And then I started getting into going to the orchestra, picked up the violin at the age of 5, and then later on trumpet, and then just started getting gigs around town, and then then eventually beyond.
Yeah. Now, as I was reading the information on your music, Kenny, it stated that you're a strong proponent for Baton Rouge swamp blues. It never ceases to amaze me the different nuances that these variations of the blues exist so strongly. But make no mistake, they do. Could you please educate us on the differences, say, between Chicago blues and Baton Rouge swamp blues?
Well, Baton Rouge swamp blues is made up of variety styles because north of here from my house, the Mississippi Delta line is about 25, 30 minutes.
Okay.
And people come down from Mississippi, Norwood, Woodville, Mississippi, and, find jobs in Baton Rouge. Then you got folks south of me coming from New Orleans, and you got that jazz funk flavor, and you got that Delta coming from the north. And then over west of me, we got the Zydeco Cajun music.
Yes, sir.
So we do a combination of all three of these combined together. And that's where we come up with the swamp blues.
Okay.
So that's pretty well where we get it from. Just a mixture, like a gumbo, man. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Kenny, you talked about knowing that you wanted to be, involved in music when you were just a young boy. Mike, I wanted to ask you, at what point did you decide that music was going to be on your path for you?
It was decided when I was born, man. Like I've never had any sort of dreams beyond doing music.
Very cool.
I remember, Dad, one day you asked me, you're like, "You want to be a cowboy when you grow up?" I was like, "No, I want to do music like you." That was my thing. I was like, "Oh man, I can't be a cowboy. No, I got to do music." It was just, I feel like it was just written in the stars. It was always my passion and my love. I wasn't like the other kids at school, doing like football or anything like that. I was kind of like the band nerd, just in the practice room all the time, making music.
Wow. As I was prepping for this, I did a little bit of checking on your music as well. And I see that you're hanging in more of the R&B side of things. But the work you did with your dad on this new single really showed that you definitely know the family biz. But I have to ask you, man, is this something that you've ever thought about? Maybe the blues is kind of like a branch you haven't yet explored?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of different like avenues in like the music genres that I haven't explored yet, that I'm open to. The music speaks to me, and I just kind of let it do its thing. So when the blues is calling me, and we'll make a blues record. Later on down the line, maybe it's going to be a rock record or something.
Sure.
But just throughout little portions of my life, I feel like the genre changes, and I just kind of follow the music as it leads me to it.
Yes, sir. Okay, guys. Now, as we talk about this new single, Devils in the Delta, it looks like this was released the end of February, the 28th, I believe. And I think I caught it in early March on Sean's podcast out of Queensland, Australia. I got to tell you guys, this really caught me by surprise. Just powerful, man. Can I get some of the backstory on how you two came to put this together and record it? Kenny, I'll send that to you.
Michael could answer that better than me.
Oh, okay.
So the label that we're working with, Verdict Music, they have an artist who also did a song that I covered called "If Dreams Were Money." His name's Bruce Marshall, and he originally wrote "Devils in the Delta." And I went out to Boston to meet with Steve, the owner of the label, and to do a show with Bruce. And we were sitting down at breakfast one day, and Bruce was talking to me, and he's like, Steve was talking to me and said, Bruce has this other song, Devils in the Delta. I think you and your dad would sound great on it. So I sent it to my dad, called him. He's like, all right, when do we start? So it just kind of ended up in our lap, and I'm really glad it did, because I feel like we've been able to create some cool content with this and put out a great song and gain some new followers with it.
Without a doubt. And what is it like for you, Micah, being able to collaborate on this level with your father, putting this song together like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a dream come true. It's awesome. I mean, like growing up and watching him perform, on side stage when I was just tiny, and wanting to do that, and then being in the studio with him and making the song and doing the video, it just kind of came full circle. So it's been an absolute pleasure being able to do this. It's something not many people can say they have been able to do with their dad.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Kenny, same question to you, man. You brought a third generation of your family into the blues mix with you, at least on this project for now. How does that feel?
Man, I know how my dad felt when he would put me on stage now, so I'm just carrying that tradition. He started it. I'm the eldest of 10. And
Wow.
and my dad, everybody plays music, right? So even in my band, my brother's been with me for over 30 some years in the band. And just for me to pass the torch on to Michael is, man, it's an honor to be able to do that. And I'm sure my dad is watching over us, and saying, good job, well done.
Yes, sir. Now, Kenny, you guys live literally more than 1,000 miles apart. So how did that distance affect the recording process and the collaboration for this song?
Never felt any difference. It was, we knew what we was doing. We know what we had to do, and we made it happen. So yeah, it wasn't a problem at all.
At what point in the process did you two guys realize that you had something significant on your hands? Because, I mean, I have to be honest, I'm dying to get my hands on the album. I know it's off in the distance a little bit. I believe that this particular song is like the landmark, like the cornerstone of this album. Would I be wrong in that?
No, I think so. It's setting the pace for the album. It just give me a better idea of what we need to do with the album. So I'm looking forward to it, which I'll be starting next week working on it.
You and me both, man. I got to tell you. What kind of excitement flows through your veins on this thing, Micah? How do you feel?
Yeah, I think to like, answer your question of like, when did we realize that we had something kind of big on our hands? And it was when I touched down in Baton Rouge and we started filming the video. I feel like that's when I felt like, okay, this could be big. And we did that video in late November. And then just got the pieces together and decided to put it out in the new year, and been rolling ever since.
And for those that haven't seen the companion video, it is the proverbial icing on the cake. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's another powerful piece. When I sat there and watched it the first time, I was just blown away because the cinematography and everything tied to the music, everything had that throwback feel to the old days. I mean, the Crossroads type feel, if you will. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We went for that delta. We went for that deep delta that time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thinking about keeping in mind Howlin' Wolf and all of them guys,
Yes. So has there been any discussion as for a release date for the album? I mean, as you said, I know you're just starting on it. Have you got some kind of a...
We're talking about August, September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. When you get there, I want you to come back because I want to talk about the album in its entirety once that gets ready to release. Because I'll tell you what, man, as I said, I'm a huge fan. I love what you've done with this song. And I just can't wait to see what the album looks like, really.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Now, here's the most important part for you guys. Kenny, where can folks go to buy some merch, get some CDs from you, or perhaps even book you for a gig?
KennyNealMusic.com. And you can find anything you need. All the information that you need on me will be there.
All right. You have any social media links you want to throw out there as well?
That's pretty well there.
Okay. All right, Micah, how about you, man? You throw yours out there too, brother.
Yeah. You can find me at micahwillis.com, or I am Micah Willis on Instagram, Micah Willis on TikTok. And then from there, everything else, you can find me there. You can find the single "Devils in the Delta" on Spotify, Apple Music, really wherever you stream music. Yeah, can't wait to put some more stuff out there, and really excited for this.
Very cool. And we are definitely going to put a link out there for everybody that hasn't seen the video yet, hasn't heard the single yet. I believe it or not, I know a lot of people, even here in the Lansing area. I called them up and I'm like, man, have you heard this song? And they're like, no, I haven't. So I've been sharing this link for the last probably 2 weeks already, just trying to get the word out there because it's a lot of fun. It really is. But definitely keep me in the loop, guys. Kenny Neal, Micah Willis, man, what an honor to talk to both of you here today on Time Signatures. My thanks to you both, and I wish you continued success. And don't forget, when that CD gets ready to come out, come back on here. Let's talk about this album and help promote it. Would you do that for me?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
You got it.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Very cool.
All right.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, as this episode comes to a close, please allow me to talk to you for just one moment about the Just Blues Music Foundation. Now, Just Blues is a foundation where their mission is to nurture the soul of the blues with a mission to protect and preserve blues heritage, honoring the originators of the blues and those that continue the legacy of the blues. Just Blues offers many cultural heritage special events, the annual Just Blues Music Awards and Conference, historical blues education programs for our youth, and so much more. You can make your tax-deductible donation today by visiting justblues.org. That's justblues without the T.org, and look for the donate button at the top center of the page. And as always, thank you so much for your consideration. And that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to Kenny Neal and Micah Willis, but also to you, for without you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.